How are you?
I'm good. Good morning. How are you?
Pink sweater.
Yeah, you got the pink shirt on.
I do, yeah.
Right on.
So, hey, Brian, we've talked in a number of these on this concept of owning your data. What's important for our clients to understand along those topics?
Well, I think what's important when you think about this is how the economy is changing around data and how data is actually transforming business and the way the economics actually flow in the world. So there's been all kinds of articles and things about data being the next oil,
right,
and it being the thing that's most valuable sometimes of an output of your organization. So while your organization is doing its normal operations, it's generating all kinds of data about all kinds of things. And so when you look at it, you may not know exactly right now the value of that data or what you're going to do with it, but at some point it may become incredibly relevant. And if you're not capturing it, you'll lose the opportunity to use it at some point.
Ah, that makes sense.
So just think about the notion of like, if you got an oil well that's spewing oil all over the place, you got to capture that oil in a barrel, and then you cap the barrel, and then you sit it there until you need the oil. Think about that same sort of analogy when it comes to data.
So it's an asset and you're storing it just like any other asset.
Yes, and your organization's spewing it all the time.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
I mean, there's constantly spewing data. And so we've got to grab it, we've got to gather it, we've got to barrel it, we've got to kind of store it, and then we've got to we have it there for when we need it, like when we decide a useful purpose for it. So it's very important that in today's economy, as business people, we start thinking about the actual data that comes off of our business and how that data might influence it in the future.
So let me ask you, we've always counseled our clients on concepts like enterprise data warehousing. Yeah. And usually with enterprise data warehousing, we've defined very specific answers to questions that businesses are trying to answer.
Yeah.
At some stage though, there's a lot of data
yeah.
that's accumulated through the organization that we don't yet know what we're going to do with it. Are there strategies now for accessing and accumulating that data?
Yeah, and one of the things that's changed dramatically is you now have the ability through cloud technologies, and we can talk about the cloud later, it's not about the cloud, but it's so inexpensive to actually gather and barrel your data and store it that there's really no economic barrier to doing so. And so you have the ability to grab it before you understand exactly what you're going to do with it, so you have it. When you do something like an enterprise data warehouse, which is something very important to our business and how we help clients, you really do sort of need to know what you're going to do with the data. You have a purpose because you're transforming the data and you're making it something that's useful. What we're talking about now, and one of the bigger strategies, is something called a data lake. But what we basically do is we just store the data, think of it in barrels, ready to be tapped and utilized when we need it. And I think that's where we see a lot of movement right now in the marketplace.
So the cost of storage is just basically plummeted.
Yes.
The ease of access to extract that data has become much easier.
Correct.
And there are technologies now, you're mentioning the term data lake,
yeah.
which is a method of just extracting,
yep.
storing it inexpensively, and putting it in, your terms, barrels, so that when we want it, it's available to us, and we've gained ownership of it and access to it.
You got it.
Great.
And then what ends up happening too is the technology spectrum has changed a little bit in the sense that how you might consume that data is different. So it may find its way into an enterprise data warehouse. It may find its way into some sort of data science algorithm like an AI or machine learning. It may find itself into some sort of kind of raw analytics where people that work in your organization are sort of mashing the data to see what they can come of it. So there's different ways it can be consumed, but the nice thing is you have it stored in the raw, like raw crude oil, right? And you can then sort of grab that and use it as you need without actually damaging it or taking it out of its original format.
Perfect. Sounds like a great strategy. Gain access to that. Let's take advantage of data lake technologies.
Right on.
Cool.
Cheers.
Nice.